Welcome to the wonderful world of dodgy films. I'm your host, movie and TV Mistress. This week, another sci-fi film for our sci-fi month. A Disney film called I-Man. I know you can probably mishear me when I say I-Man and think I'm saying Iron Man, because that is a Disney film, technically. But this is I-Man. I as in indestructible. I as in invincible. I as in idiot. I as in inconceivable. Any fecking word that begins with the word I, basically. What's it about? Well, the plot is just ridiculous. This was technically a pilot for a TV series that never got picked up. And it's from 1986. And it stars Scott Bakula. Before Quantum Leap. This was his first feature credit because he worked on stage most of his life before this. So he's more of a theatre actor at this point. And we have the Navigator from Flight of the Navigator as his son. Okay, so he's a taxi driver. And I don't mean that taxi driver that ran over the angel, no. He's a taxi driver. Supposedly in Texas. Well, anyway, he's supposed to be in Texas, but it's clearly Vancouver. As most of the cast are Canadian, including the Navigator. What can you say? Let's see. We'll start with the idea that an alien atmosphere has been brought to Earth by NASA. Yeah, because anything that's not of Earth is technically an alien atmosphere, so it could have been freaking just some air from just beyond our atmosphere. Doesn't mean it's got aliens in it, just that's what we call it. The same way that we call illegal aliens, because they're not people of our country and therefore they're illegal and they're alien. So, alien atmosphere brought down to Earth by NASA happens to be in a white van, looks a bit like the ones from E.T., and it has an accident.
That guy's out of control.
Sam Beckett. That's his name, I swear. No. His name's Jeffrey Wild, and he's a taxi driver. And he goes and rescues a guy from the truck. The truck goes, "You gotta save the canister." So he goes back to save the canister. There's a massive explosion. Him, his kid, and his dog are nearby. And he's blown to bits. This is the reaction of the Navigator. That is the lamest reaction of any child to the witnessing the explosion and death of their parent. You know, I'm sorry. If it was my dad or my mum, I think I'd be screaming and crying right now because I've just seen them blow up. But then we get this scene.
Dad, I need carboxyhemoglobin. Set up the oxygen, put him on 6 liters. We're losing him.
He's coming back.
Where am I? What am I doing here?
Dad, you okay? I'm so scared. I thought you might be dead.
Sir? You can't just leave, sir. I think you should spend the night with us for observation. Get pathology down here. I want a printout now. Get us a bed. Make it ICU, specify 1-to-1 nursing, and get him back on full monitoring.
Doctor, he's leaving.
Call reception.
Reception, this is an emergency. Stop the man in the burned clothes and
A boy in a football suit.
I lost Nolan. He ran away when the truck exploded.
Oh, sir, stop that man.
They just walk right out of the hospital after seeing General Hammond from Stargate. Yeah, I know he's from Twin Peaks, but you know what? I grew up on Stargate SG-1, the TV series, and he was General Hammond. I don't care about Twin Peaks too much. Thing is, I get that he regenerates, so he's kind of like got Wolverine powers now. But no one moves quick enough to stop him. He doesn't ask any questions. He just gets up, walks out of his kid, and it's like nothing ever happened. He then gets shot accidentally when he goes to a supermarket, and then NASA turns up. Now I know that technically what is being set up is he is going to be the hero. So it's kind of like the Incredible Hulk series and the Invisible Man series that only lasted 13 episodes. Pretty much any series of the early 80s where a guy has a special gift and is then used by the government to help them solve crimes and defeat bad guys, a la the $6 Million Man. The rest of this is just basically a build-up of showing his powers and then letting you know, oh, by the way, the kid has the powers because he was right beside the alien atmosphere explosion. Oh, and at the end, after having no dog, that they keep going, we need to find the dog. Dog turns up. And guess what? It has the same power too, because it was right there at the explosion. So basically, anyone who was nearby the explosion is now indestructible. It's not the best plot, and Scott Bakula's character is pretty much a precursor to Quantum Leap's Sam Beckett. He has a photographic memory, people, and he's done almost every job that he then goes on to do in Quantum Leap, because he keeps going on about he's been a waiter, he's been a taxi driver, he's been this, that, and everything else. Perhaps this unaired pilot that is actually available from Disney to purchase did inspire Donald P. Bellisario and Deborah Pratt to hire him for Quantum Leap as Sam Beckett. I don't know. It's an interesting idea, premise. It's just a pity that his character is lame and only has the ability to heal himself. Apart from that, he's stupid. He pretty much gets hurt a lot. Oh, and his kryptonite is darkness. If he's in dark for too long, he dies. Kind of. I mean, at the end, spoilers here, he ends up crashing a truck over the edge with this thing in it that's going to explode to save it, and goes into water, so he's in darkness. And when the guy pulls him up, he's like going, he's probably been down there too long, it's too dark, he'll be dead. And he is dead, and they put the sheet over him, and then he rises from the grave. Because there's no logic to it. It's just sci-fi, people. We've got so I've mentioned General Hammond from Stargate SG-1 was the boss of Jack O'Neill, played by Richard Dean Anderson. Richard Dean Anderson at this point was in a TV series called MacGyver. I'm just bringing this up. Trust me, there is a point. The bad guy in this is a guy called John Anderson. John Anderson was in MacGyver as MacGyver's granddad. He's not related to Richard Dean Anderson, they just happen to have the same surname. But he did play MacGyver's granddad. Apart from that, he'd also later on go on to work with Scott Bakula again in Quantum Leap. I know I keep bringing this show up. Look, it was an awesome show, and people need to watch Quantum Leap, MacGyver, and Stargate SG-1. They're awesome. Anyway, he was actually in an episode of Quantum Leap called The Last Gunfighter. The Last Gunfighter is a western, and John Anderson plays The Last Gunfighter. Now, talking about The Last Gunfighter, every time I was watching this mini movie, whatever you want to call it, pilot, the music in it kept making me think of another film that I grew up watching, again sci-fi related, called The Last Starfighter. Turns out the composer on this movie is Craig Safan, and yes, He was the composer for The Last Starfighter. Would I recommend you watch this? It's good for a laugh. It's ridiculous. It's another movie with that kid from Flight of the Navigator. Apart from this and Flight of the Navigator, I'd only ever seen him in Runaway. So I've now seen 3 films with Joey Cramer. Yeah, that's his name. Joey Cramer. So, Joey Cramer, where is he now? He's in jail. Literally. Okay, folks. I say, check this movie out because it's funny, it's silly, and it's like an early version of Disney's attempt to make a superhero movie. Yeah. Anyway, next week will be another sci-fi film, and you'll have to wait and see what it is, folks. But remember what I always say. There's a lot of dodgy movies out there. And remember what Princess Leia always says. You're a scruffy-looking nerf herder. Hit that subscribe button, folks. Comment way down below. Thumbs up if you liked it. And hit that notification bell. And I will see you all again next week, folks. Bye!